This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everybody, to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have an awesome neighbor with us. His name is Luke Tosky from Home Options Made Easy. How's it going, bro?
Not too bad, man. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. I feel like I can call you bro from that 8.5 minute conversation we had before you got on here. So
yeah, that's what happens, right?
The forest real nice in the background too. Feel like you got a good vibe happening over there.
Yeah, cover up a little goodies back there, but a little better view, right?
Beautiful stuff. Well, look, we got the chance to meet at a trade show. Super happy you got the chance to come on and do this. Been looking forward to having a little bit more of a more deep and meaningful conversation with you. You struck me as a good guy when I got to meet you. So why don't we dive right into it and tell our listeners a little bit about your business?
Well, I started this business about 8 years ago. It's a design, renovation, and supply company. So we work with builders, contractors, other designers, and then direct to clients as well. As you see my puppy there hanging out back there.
Love it.
And yeah, basically we kind of want to meet with clients, figure out kind of their vision, what they're thinking for like the renovation or custom home. We put together a nice, neat design package for them so they can kind of see all the finishes kind of in one spot. We've got them all at the design center. And then we'll put together a plan, hire the contractors we need to do it, kind of get the project done, follow up with the clients as the project's going, and then kind of finish that up. And that's kind of the gist of it. Pretty quick and simple, but we're trying to make it, as our name says, Home Options Made Easy. We want to make it as easy as possible because the problem with renovations is they are a massive headache and they're very stressful. So we're trying to make it as easy and streamlined as possible.
Very nice. Is there so we're talking all renos here. This goes from the bathroom to the main floor to the basement to the kitchen. Is there anything that's like kind of more popular like right now versus, maybe it was before COVID? Are people into like kitchen renos right now, bathrooms? Like where are people at? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's usually a pretty good mix between kitchens and bathrooms. We're seeing a lot more of second suite apartments and ADUs going in, like the additional dwelling units. Just people are trying to afford it a little bit more for housing and stuff. So they're putting basement apartments in, and we deal with all the cities and permits and stuff to get that done. So we're seeing quite a bit more of that. People are asking about ADUs, like can we put one in our backyard? Can we get some extra units in our house to be able to offset some of the costs? And then investors come to us as well, and they kind of want to take a house, turn it into a duplex, throw an ADU in the back. So we deal with a lot of that stuff as well. But for the most part, yeah, it's kitchens, bathrooms are always kind of the go-to, and then now the extra apartments are coming in big time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me with the way that the market is and stuff like that. That people look and try to get some of that extra supplemental income in there. Plus the supply and demand that's out there on the market for real estate.
It's crazy, yeah. Like it's big time needed because we just don't have the spaces for people, right? So we're trying to create those units that you can actually have your own kitchen, own bathroom, stuff like that. So you're not just shoved in a bedroom, right? So
yeah, totally. So what's your journey been like to get into where you are today? Did you always start off doing what you're doing, or what's that look like?
Yeah, I started when I was 15. Actually, got right into landscaping with my brother.
Really?
Then about a year after that, I didn't like the whole elements thing, dealing with outside and the stonework. So then I got into framing, and it just wasn't. It wasn't enough detail for me. I like to have a variety of things. I want to be really accurate with what I do. So then I got into actually custom homes and renovations. Started my business when I was 18, working for an older Scottish guy and his right-hand man. And then I've had multiple businesses over the years, but always stayed in the contracting industry. And then built a lot of big high-end homes back in the day. And then eventually actually ended up partnering up with a good friend of mine to start our own business together, and got into Home Options Made Easy to be able to go direct to manufacturer, because we wanted to be able to supply people without having any middlemen, because we had a lot of issues with dealing with middlemen before. So we decided, you know what, let's just have our own place. So we looked for a building because manufacturers won't sell direct unless you have a showroom.
Okay.
So we ended up looking for a unit that we could turned into a showroom. We found this place, which was a complete disaster when we took it over. It was an old pizzeria, and it was old. Before that, it was like a welding company, and before that, it was a catering company. So
Wow.
30 years of hack renovations have done to this building that we had to basically go in and gut from scratch and create our design center. So we kind of started that up to turn into that while we were working and doing these jobs, still paying for this place. Like we had basically no money when we started this place. We just kind of dove in head first and was like, well, we'll figure it out later. And so that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of sleepless nights and weekends that we're working. And to say we put in less than 100 hours a week would definitely be an understatement. So it was an insane time. I still don't know to this day how we got it done. I look back now and like, how was that even possible? So it was, it was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy start.
It reminds me, I'll be a little humorous when I say this, but it reminds me when COVID hit and I went pluck 749 dandelions out of my front yard by hand. I don't really remember how I actually did that. I ended up buying a tool number one, but kind of the same thing where I don't think I'd ever be able to do that again. I don't know what I was thinking or how I did it. It happened somehow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy times to get that going. And it's just and like where I met you at the home show, that's literally where we started. We started doing home shows, and it was that was the way we grew the design company, because we had our contracting company before that, but we wanted to be able to supply all our clients and be able to have that one-stop shop from start to finish. So we just grew our business by going to these home shows, meeting with people, and then that's kind of how we got Home Options Made Easy started.
That's pretty cool. If you're listening to the show, you get to come in and actually know the history of that building before, right? Most people, if they wouldn't know that unless they were told. So for people who are listening, the next time that they walk in, they get to say like they know the backstory, and you guys got to get that design going and kind of add your own flair to it, right?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So like one day I'll get all the pictures put together from like kind of start to finish on how it started, and put that up on the wall and kind of show the story of like what we started with and where it is now, because it's pretty amazing when you see the transformation of that place.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Looking forward to seeing that. Is there any like myths or misconceptions when it comes to your service?
As far as myths and misconceptions, I would say kind of the biggest one is like a renovation or project is always going to go over budget. It's always going to be, we get clients coming to us all the time and they're saying, okay, well, this is the price. Okay, well, how much more are we expecting? And a lot of times that is the truth, because guys will come in and if maybe they're not as experienced or not as detailed, and then all of a sudden during the project, they're like, oh, sorry, you wanted doors on your cabinets? My bad. Here's another $5,000. Like,
right.
So this is the thing that we see all the time, is that if you can be extremely detailed right at the beginning and have everything labeled, everything line by line on your estimate broken down, then that client can see, okay, I get 12 pot lights, and then they're not going in and going, well, why didn't I get 14? Right. And so that's one of the issues we see is they automatically come in and assume that, okay, you said $50,000 for the project, but is it going to go to 60 or 70? I'm worried about that because that's what happened to my friend. And that's kind of where we're setting ourselves apart, because a lot of guys and a lot of companies will do a big lump sum. They'll say, here's your renovation, $50,000. We're going to do a kitchen. Well, like, what does that include? Like, what kind of countertops, what kind of backsplash, what kind of electrical? And we want to break it down so you can see that, oh, your electrical is including this much and it's $3,500. And then people can go, okay, well, is there any way to get the electrical down? Or is there any way we can add this or this? And then you can actually go down category by category to really narrow it down so that there's no surprises, right? So we try to make sure that everything's covered, and we always let people know, there always leave a little bit of contingency, because if we open up a wall and something is not done to code, we now have to bring it to code. So we want to be able to bring that up to code and make that so that it's safe going forward, right? So I hear that you got a little puppy dog there too, eh?
Oh man, yeah.
What kind of dog do you have?
I got he just turned 3 on April 1st. He's an Australian Shepherd.
Oh, okay, cool.
And
Australian Shepherd Lab Border Collie Rottweiler.
Oh, nice.
And then my other one is a massive St. Bernard Lab Rottweiler. So I got
Oh,
quite the mix on the two dogs.
yeah. And then then Julie's got a 5-year-old Chihuahua. So it's the Chihuahua that started doing the barking. Mine never used to bark at the front door. And it's like, we keep the blinds closed down there, and everybody down there knows, early in the week for Mondays, Tuesdays, that's only when the podcasting happens. So we try to set things up where we're not going to get that, and clearly failed that time. So
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, well, if any squirrels run by my house, you'll hear my dogs. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm surprised they haven't gone through the windows yet, actually. So
I used to have a border collie growing up, so
oh yeah,
I know all about those
dogs.
So.
Those things, yeah.
So, well, that's cool. I mean, basically with the amount of experience that you have, and because you're so detail oriented, it seems like you guys kind of bust that myth a bit, where people won't have to feel like they're going over budget, because everything is it's clear, it's in front of them, it's detailed, and then if people want to go over budget, well, they're going to be the one making that call because they want to add after the fact.
Exactly, right. And that's fine. If you want to add things as we go, it happens all the time. People are, okay, you know what? I didn't want to do this, but while we're in this, let's just get it done now. Well, okay, fine. But as far as what we price out, if you say yes right off the bat and there's no changes during the job, then the price is not going to change. We're not going to throw another $5,000 at you at the end of the job, because we've detailed everything out there. You've signed off on it. Everything's very clear. You've got full color drawings that show you everything that's going to happen. So there's no surprises, right? And that's the worst thing, is because people, they'll get out their $50,000, they'll take it out of their house or whatever, and like that's what they have. If you come in and you're all of a sudden $60,000, well, most people don't just have $10,000 just sitting around going, oh, okay, cool, here you go. Right. So we want to make sure that we are as accurate as possible so that you don't have those surprises, right? So we might not be the cheapest guys out there, and I can guarantee we aren't. But if you look at what we're offering and how clear we are, like I always ask clients, I'm like, just compare apples to apples. Like if you're getting another quote and for whatever reason that guy's 10 or 15 grand cheaper, like just make sure that you're getting the same stuff. Because that happens all the time. And we have clients come back to us afterwards and say, well, I went with this other guy, I should have went with you. He ended up not including this and this and this, and it ended up being an extra 20 grand. Well, when we were only an extra 10 to begin with, right? So just compare apples to apples. That's all we tell people, is make sure that you're getting the same stuff. These cabinets are not the same as these cabinets. Make sure they have the same kind of structure, same kind of hardware and stuff like that. There's a lot of cheaper products out there that might look like a white shaker cabinet, sure, but like what's the finishes, what's the hardware, what's the warranty, where's it made? Like these are all things that people need to ask. It's not the same thing. It's like buying cars. One car is not the same as the other one. You go into a Porsche dealership and they go, oh, I got this really nice Ford Focus, like here you go, it's the same price. Like you want to make sure that it's just accurate and you're comparing the same stuff, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's kind of what people are paying for. They're paying for the experience. They're paying to have somebody who knows what they're talking about, who just does it the right way, so that, if you're buying on price, I mean, you get what you pay for.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and you want it, like you're coming to us because we are the experts in that field, or else you'd be doing it yourself. So if you're coming to us because we're the experts, then like trust us that we're going to kind of put in the right stuff. At the end of the day, it's my name that's going to be tarnished. So I'm going to make sure I do a great job for you, because I want you to tell your friends and tell their friends and so on, right?
Yeah, 100%. So you strike me as the kind of guy, since I met you, that likes to have a lot of fun, and I've never really got to ask you. And we always ask this question on the show, so I'm super pumped to ask it. But when you're not working on or in your business, what do you like to do for fun?
Love hanging out with my girlfriend Donna, my daughter Kenzie, and like I said, our two dogs, Maui and Max. We go on a lot of hikes. We've got property up north that we go and camp through the summer there, and we've got a boat, we go fishing. We do a lot of ATVing. My little 10-year-old is an ATV monster, so
nice.
She keeps up with the big boys on the trails, and we like doing that. And then love traveling. We just got back from Azores, Portugal, which is if you've never been, man, I'm telling you, it is my new favorite place. It was so relaxing. The hikes were unbelievable. The views were unreal. People were amazing. Food was amazing. Like it was such a change of pace from my typical day that is so crazy all the time. Yeah. And then I got there and everything just slowed right down, and it was just, and it was amazing. And if you like driving, the roads over there are awesome because they're all twisty turny, up mountains, down mountains, right to the ocean. And we had a little Audi A3, and we had a blast driving around those roads. So it was a good time.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun. My significant other and I love all of the same stuff. ATVing, camping,
Nice.
hiking, fishing. She's outfished me a couple of times. I'll tuck my tail between my legs on that one.
Yeah, it's good to admit it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always fun, and we like being competitive with each other with that kind of stuff. But we like doing all that, just being out in nature and being outside, stuff like that. I think I was mentioning to you on Thursday, we get to tuck out to Punta Cana for 5 days in an all-inclusive resort. So she's been there once, says it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to going to get that experience too.
Yeah, that should be good. And most recently, we jumped into the sport of pickleball. I don't know if you played it.
Oh, that's on my list this year.
It's so fun, man. We jumped in up here, like I'm up in the Midland area, and we joined a couple groups up here, and the people are awesome. It's a great workout, and there's some really good players. Like when you're getting beat by an 80-year-old, it drives you crazy. So you really got to step your game up. So yeah, but it's a blast, man. We've been playing all over the place, and really fun. Basically, it's ping pong and tennis mixed together, which is awesome. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's the fastest growing sport in the world right now. Like they've got courts everywhere. It's nuts, actually.
Yeah, that's definitely on our list, and I love the workout benefit from it too. If I can go and have some fun and get a good sweat on and do something fun, like I'm all over that.
Yeah, well, like normally it's like it's about 3 hours that you're out there, and I think the last time was like 1,200 calories is what my watch told me that I burned in 3 hours. So it's not bad if you're running around playing hard. So it's good.
I am sold on that. You just the straw that broke the camel's back or whatever. That was that right there.
Give it a shot, man. You'll love it. It's a lot of fun.
Very nice. Okay, so let's switch gears a bit here. We'll go to maybe a little bit more of a serious conversation. In life, we don't always get to pick and choose. Sometimes life will throw things at us. We always try to set ourselves up on the path, but we don't always get to choose the path. Sometimes it gets swapped out from under us. And what's fascinating is people's resiliency to overcome life challenges and hardships that people go through. But it's the silver linings that you can also try to take from it as humans and trying to be as positive as you can regardless of the outcome. So I wanted to ask if you've ever experienced a hardship or a life challenge that you overcame and maybe a couple of silver linings from it.
Yeah, well, this one hits pretty close because Home Options Made Easy was started with me and my buddy James. We started LJ Custom Contracting before. I met him about 15 years ago on a custom home site. He was doing the tile. I was doing the carpentry. We met up and chatted. I told him that we were going to be playing snow pitch on the weekend. He's like, what the heck is snow pitch? And I said, it's baseball in the snow. And he didn't believe me. I'm like, all right, man, just come out then. He came out that weekend. And ever since then, we were absolute best buddies, basically brothers from another mother. We partnered up in 2015, started doing some nice renovations together because the eye for quality was there for both sides of us, which was very hard to find. So we figured, why wouldn't we do it? Started Home Options a year later, like I said, because we wanted to go direct to manufacturers. Started growing that. And then unfortunately in February of 2020, he passed away in a tragic snowmobile accident. He went through the ice in 2020, and that was 1 month before COVID happened. That was a really big hit. Right before that, I actually had my uncle and my grandfather pass away in the last 4 months. So those 4 months was like the hardest time of my life, and it ended with him passing away. Pretty big hit. I've lost a lot of people, but there was nothing quite like that. It was, And then a month later, world shuts down with COVID.
Crazy.
It was, that probably actually saved my life in the sense of the next month, I basically spent it at the shop, grieving, which I've never done before because life has been so fast all the time. Never had a chance to actually grieve. So I was playing all his music that he loved to sing. Phenomenal singer, unbelievable. Like the guy had some serious talent. So I played all his music. I was doing some updates on the shop and just spending some time to actually take a breath and breathe. We hadn't had a chance to do that in years. So that kind of hit me pretty hard. And then obviously with the world kind of flipped upside down. But what came out of that was I I've got to get done what we kind of planned out, where we wanted to go with this company and grow this company. So I now have him in the back of my head all the time, because we were the yin and yang. You talk to anyone that knows us, and we literally had both ends covered. It was amazing. So now I've got to be the yin and yang. So in the back of my head, I've always got, what would James do? What's he thinking? Kind of. And so that's helped me grow as a businessman and grow on kind of how we want to continue and go forward, because it's still a 2-person decision, right? It's just, he's unfortunately not here anymore to make it in real life, but I've got him always there in the back of my head, or on my shoulder, being like, what's the worst case scenario? Because he was the worst case scenario man. That was my superhero name for him, which I'm kind of a very like, hey, let's just figure it out later, dive in head first. And he was always like, well, what if? So it does help to have that kind of in the back of your head, where it's like, I got to think about that as well, so that you don't just get into something a little too deep, right? So and honestly, man, like what I can tell people coming out of that, my biggest thing is, don't sweat the small stuff, because the only thing you can't get back is family, friends, and time. Those things don't come back. And people get so worked up over the small stuff and the little stuff, and then you never know when it's going to be your last goodbye. And I never got the goodbye with him. The last text, he was telling me how much fun he was having on the snowmobile, and that's all I got. So you just never know when it's going to happen, and that's why you just got to kind of cherish every moment with people, because you can get money back, you can start another business, you can get another job, you lose somebody, and that's forever. So
thanks for sharing that. That you almost had me going there.
I was close too.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, it's really heavy stuff. Thanks for sharing that. I think anybody who's listening to this, I'm sure they're probably tear jerking a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's and this is why this business means more than ever, because now it's got a legacy that I've got to bring through. Right, he's got a couple small kids. I want them to know all about him when they grow up, and know what we built together. And so I really want to be able to keep this thing going for us, right? So.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's I always know what to say. I always or move on to the next question, but that one for me will be the first time I don't overly know what to say, other than that absolute terrible thing to happen. You wouldn't wish that on anybody, but proud of you for the way you move forward through that. And it just makes me love your business that much more, knowing what's transpired, what's happened, what the place used to look like before, how you guys transitioned over from that, and then having him on your shoulder all the time, helping you make those decisions, and then turning that into a legacy. And I absolutely want to be a part of that. I can't wait to talk to you on the other side about that.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
What's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
I guess the biggest thing is like I said earlier, is we're never going to be the cheapest guys out there. And one of the biggest reasons for that is we are fully insured. All of our guys are licensed. We're not going to send a handyman over to your house that's going to do the electrical, the plumbing, and the kitchen install and the tile. And what I've always said, and kind of been my line that I've coined over the years, is we use the masters of each trade, and we don't use a jack of all trades. And what we find out there is guys will come in and they'll give you that lump sum price, and they'll be like, yeah, it's 50 grand. And then we're going to be a little bit higher. But then the problem is if they've got guys that are doing electrical that are not getting ESA permit, that are not like licensed electricians, if you ever had an issue on that house, the first thing your insurance company is going to do is they're going to ask, who are you using? And they're going to go and they're going to find out that it wasn't a licensed electrician, and your insurance company is not going to cover anything. So to have that risk of someone in your house that literally with electrical, you could burn down a house, and that's worst case scenario. And then you're not going to be covered for that. Your insurance company is going to say, you didn't hire somebody like that. With my business license in the city of Barrie, we are, by law, we have to have licensed guys do all these trades. So if I were to use a non-licensed guy, I have a chance of losing my business license, which means I can't operate. So when we're fully covered for WSIB, a lot of homeowners don't know as well, is if you don't hire people that are fully covered on WSIB and they get injured in your house, it's your homeowner's insurance that covers that injury. So if someone breaks something or falls and hurts themselves or whatever, you're going to be liable to actually cover them. So when people are looking at prices, I always kind of tell them, like, you've really got to look at what are you getting for the price. Make sure that it's fully insured. The last thing you want to happen is something serious happens on your site and then you're paying for it or your insurance company's not covering it. Make sure you're hiring people that are licensed, that are insured, so that you don't have anything to worry about. If something happens, it's taken care of.
Very informative, man. That I think anybody who just heard that's going to really take something away from that conversation. Well said. Okay, so people are definitely interested. I know after that, and if they want to get a hold of you, they want to learn more. What's the best way that they can go ahead and do that?
Best way, you can go on social media. You can check us out, Instagram, Facebook. Everything's at Home Barrie. And then you can check out the website, homeoptionsmadeeasy.ca. And then we're located on the south end of Barrie, just behind Costco and Rona at 130 Saunders, Unit 7. Then you can give us a call at 705-503-4663 or shoot us an email, info@homebarrie.com. Is the best ways to get a hold of us. But pop in and come check out the design center because there's nothing better than seeing it in person. 100%.
Couldn't agree more. We're kind of wrapping up the show and you're doing your thing and I'm looking out my window and I'm like, it's getting dark out. Yeah, we having a storm. I'm like, we're in the sun.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And of course, Mother Nature flipping us the bird because it's overcast. So I don't even get to see it. I bought the stupid glasses and the whole thing. I got suckered into that one,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just looked out the window too. It is. It's getting dark out there.
Yeah, it's getting dark. But 10 more minutes will be the full thing. So
another 20 years, I guess we got to wait to hopefully not be an overcast day, right?
Well, that's if you're going to go out into Alberta to see it. But the next time Barrie will be visible, it's going to be like 148 years or something like that.
Oh, well, nowadays with biohacking, we're living way longer. So we might have a shot, Sean. We might have a shot.
Oh, I love it. Hey, great conversation. Awesome dude. Great business. Super happy to have you on the show and looking forward to doing this down the line.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Sean. Thanks for having me, buddy. This was awesome.
No problem. Talk soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.